25 thriving opportunities in oil and gas industry in Nigeria. What are the most lucrative businesses one can execute in the oil and gas industry? Are you interested in starting a business in the oil and gas industry but clueless of the specific kind of business to do? The Nigerian government is encouraging foreign and local investors to invest in either the upstream or the downstream of the oil and gas sector. The oil and gas industry is maybe the most carefully controlled sector, yet it remains presumably the most beneficial and hazardous. The oil and gas industry is arguably one of the most lucrative business sectors in Nigeria and Africa as a whole. What's more, oil and gas industry is undoubtedly truly productive, but the vast majority of the investors and entrepreneurs are not yet aware of the numerous business roles they can play in it. Indeed, crude oil or petroleum and its fractions are fundamental products that are consumed on a regular basis. This results in high demand for the product daily. This also means that any kind of business that you venture into with proper supervision will most probably succeed. In spite of the huge agitation for the use of alternative renewable energy resources in place of crude oil still remains the major product used. This is due to the fact that majority of the automobiles and machineries use petroleum products to power their engines. This means the interest for petroleum items isn't depreciating anytime soon, since it will take much longer before the idea of renewable energy will completely be acknowledged and displace use of crude oil. If you are one who is planning to start a business in the oil and gas industry but do not know what to do, here are 25 opportunities you can utilize in the oil and gas industry. Oil and gas maintenance and servicing. Oil and gas servicing is one of the widely demanded services in the oil and gas industry. The major function of the companies in this category is to clean, repair, and maintain the facilities used in drilling, production, and completion operations used by these huge multilateral companies. Anyone who wishes to venture into this business, however, needs a lot of skills, knowledge, and experience in oil servicing operations. This is as a result of the fragility of these facilities, in which any mismanagement of these facilities may lead to large-scale pollution and huge financial losses. Oil and gas blogging. This is an opportunity for freelance writers and bloggers to venture into the industry through articles and write-up about ideas, news, and latest trends in the oil and gas sector. You can also do write-up on how to start a small-scale business in the oil and gas sector for entrepreneurs who are interested. Oil and gas legal services. Legal services is also one of the important aspects in oil and gas industry. Before any oil operation starts in any part of Nigeria, interested companies are required to obtain an oil mining lease (OML). This can only be acquired through legal services. If you are a lawyer with a vast knowledge about the operation in the oil and gas industry, you can build your career in the industry from there. Oil spillage cleaning. Oil spillage is almost an inevitable occurrence in the oil and gas industry, as no human or machine is 100% efficient. Most of the times, oil spills occur as a result of accidents involving tankers, storage facilities, refineries, drilling rigs, pipelines, and baggage. It can be caused by mistake or negligence of staff during operation, vandalization, and sabotage. These spills can result in environmental degradation, explosion, and loss of life. Hence, the need for an oil spillage cleaning service is important in the industry. You can acquire the required skills in oil spill cleaning through education and then start up your own company. It, however, requires huge capital and risk. Oil and gas consulting agency. This aspect is actually for those who are skilled and experienced in petroleum operations. Good track record that precedes you as a consultant. You can then be a consultant for startup businesses in the industry. Petroleum refinery. Another profitable business in the petrol and gas sector is petroleum refinery. This is because there is a limited number of functioning refineries in Nigeria. You can set up your personal private refinery and compete with the giant. Setting up this business in Nigeria is, however, capital intensive, as it might cost you up to billions of naira to set up in Nigeria. If you are, however, able to pull it off, it will turn out to be extremely lucrative. Crude oil shipping company. This business is very capital intensive as large vessels of this scale in the industry cost millions of dollars to purchase. If you have a big enough capital or a potential large asset finance support from a bank and a wide network in oil companies, you can venture into the crude oil shipping business. Refinery and tank farm construction company. This is yet highly specialized oil and gas business opportunities. This type of business, however, can only be executed by someone who has the prerequisite skills in the industry. It can also be by anyone who has links to companies who can build a refinery or a tank farm construction. If you are among the category of people listed above, then can venture into the construction of refinery and tank farm for prospective clients. Lubricants production. Lubricants are required in engines of automobiles and machineries in order to function efficiently. It is therefore widely purchased and utilized on a daily basis. This high demand of lubricants makes it a lucrative business to venture into. You can venture into the production of lubricants, grow a reputable brand name, and preferably market them through a network of petroleum stations, automobiles companies, and mechanics. The procurement, production, and supply of oil and natural gas pipelines is another oil and gas business opportunity. It is, however, a specialized business reserved for individuals who have adequate capital, experience, and a wide network in oil and gas industry. Natural gas marketing. To start a business of this caliber, you are required to have a license in order to have access and be allowed to execute operation. You can become a middleman between the natural gas producer and the market that wants it delivered. Sale of petroleum tankers. Instead of leasing tankers for their product, several oil and gas marketers go on to eventually purchase their own petroleum tankers. From a financial point of view, this reduces the loss of profits to regular leasing tankers for their product. You, however, need to have a wide network of petroleum marketers who are looking to purchase their own tankers in the near future. This makes your business easier and grow faster. Manufacturing and sale of cooking gas cylinders. Majority of homes in Nigeria use cooking gas in place of kerosene to cook their food. The cooking gas is, however, supplied from gas cylinders. The millions of homes in Nigeria that use these gas cylinders to prepare their meals provide a huge market for anyone who decides to venture into the business. You could start a cooking gas cylinder manufacturing business, or better still, a wholesale business, and market them to potential users or distribute to other small retailers. Oil and gas pipeline security. Pipeline vandalization is a rampant problem in the oil and gas industry in Nigeria. Vandalization occurs when militants try to tap crude oil from pipelines and in the process, damaging the pipeline. This makes securing the pipeline a top priority in the industry. You could set up a pipeline security company that monitors pipelines on the 24/7 basis to ensure the pipelines are free of attack from vandals, thereby reducing the damages done on the pipeline exponentially. Petrol station construction. Just as building tanks farms can be a lucrative venture, building petrol stations for clients is equally another opportunity, especially constructors or civil engineers specialize in this business. Oil and gas enterprise software application. The introduction of artificial intelligence has improved the efficiency of production facilities in the oil and gas industry through applications such as Eclipse and Petroleum Experts. Technology companies can then use these opportunities to develop softwares and applications which can further improve production. They can also develop apps that can provide solutions to numerous problems facing the oil and gas industry, such as kicks and blowouts. Offshore boat and helicopter transportation. Going offshore, deep into the middle of the ocean usually requires the transport service of a boat or helicopter service. While some oil and gas companies own private boats, other companies don't or insufficient. This makes the company require the service of an external transport company. Opening up a business in transport service is a lucrative opportunity for any individual with a wide network of companies needing more affordable offshore transportation services. Manufacturing and supply of barrels or drums. Barrels are used in storing and measuring crude oil. This product has a high demand, meaning an abundant market exists for it. You can start up a business by manufacturing or supply of barrels to companies in the oil and gas industry. Petroleum products procurement and supplies. This is one of the most basic oil and gas business to venture into. Here, focus is placed on supplying petroleum products like kerosene, gasoline, drilling chemicals like bentonite and barite, and a whole lot more to a market made up of clients that need these supplies on demand and on credit to be repaid in 2 to 6 weeks. You can propose to clients like government hospitals, large factories, drilling and exploitation companies, and a whole lot more to build your supply chain network. Haulage and logistics. This entails the transportation of petroleum products in the oil and gas industry from production facilities to other wholesalers or retailers. With necessary capital, you can go into this business by moving petroleum products like kerosene, gasoline, diesel, and more with your tanker and other logistic vehicles you may have on behalf of your clients to their preferred destination. With a wide network of supplies and a standard change per trip, you can start up an oil and gas haulage and logistics service. Equipment leasing. With a large capital and a wide network in the oil and gas industry, you can purchase equipment that are majorly required in oil exploration, drilling products, and completion operation. You can then lease this equipment such as tankers, BOPs, baggers out to companies who need them for short-term or long-term uses. This business is usually very lucrative as the companies are charged per hour of the equipment used. Oil farm depot. Fuel are usually stored in tank farms. Majority of oil marketers have no private-owned tank farms, but they, however, need to store their petroleum product in other tank farms. With substantial setup capital, you can build a tank farm for the sole purpose of leasing it out to oil marketers who bring in petroleum products for an agreed time. Invest in oil companies. For those who plan to venture into the oil and gas industry business but have little or insufficient capital for setup, this option is for you. You can still improve your capital through the industry by investing in an oil and gas company with a reputable business record. All you then need to do is to be patient and watch as your investment brings profitable gains to your pocket. Kerosene retail. Kerosene retail is a rather popular oil and gas business to venture into. As a wholesaler, you could either supply kerosene to multiple retailers or you could have multiple locations where you sell the kerosene directly to the final consumer. Cooking gas wholesale and retail. In Nigeria, cooking and fueling power plants are the major use of gas. This provides a high market base for anyone who decides to venture into this business. Most homes in Nigeria utilize gas for cooking, so you could supply various small-scale cooking gas retailers. You can sell cooking gas directly to consumers. In a nutshell, these are some of the opportunities that the oil and gas industry in Nigeria provides for citizens of the country and foreigners. For more news about what is happening across Africa, please subscribe to our channel and don't forget to hit the notification icon so that you will be notified each time we upload another interesting video. Thank you. Nigeria oil and gas market growth, trends, COVID-19 impact, and forecast for 2022 to 2027. Market overview. The Nigerian oil and gas market is expected to register a CAGR of more than 4.5% during the forecast period. The COVID-19 pandemic has significantly hampered the growth of the market, mainly due to global oil and gas contraction and global economic shutdown. The outbreak of COVID-19 led to the crude oil price crash in April 2020, leading to a significant reduction in CAPEX spending by oil and gas companies globally. The country's national oil and gas companies were already struggling with liquidity and cash shortages, and due to the outbreak of COVID-19, the situation has further deteriorated. However, factors such as increasing investment in the upstream sector and development of large-scale and modular refineries in the country are expected to drive the country's oil and market during the forecast period. Oil and gas production has been hampered in Nigeria in the past few years due to the attack on the oil and gas infrastructure by militants. Furthermore, oil theft has been one of the major issues faced by the oil and gas market in Nigeria, which resulted in huge losses to the operating companies in the country. Such factors are expected to have a negative impact on the market growth during the forecast period. The upstream segment in the market is expected to witness significant growth owing to increasing offshore exploration and production activities, which are mainly driven by the efforts of the government to improve the country's hydrocarbon industry. Lack of infrastructure, uncertainties in regulations, and security concerns have led Nigeria to underutilize its refining capacity, thereby pushing the country to become a net importer of refined petroleum products. However, Nigeria is on the edge of altering refined product supply dynamics in the region with the help of the upcoming Dangote refinery, and it is expected to become the regional refinery hub in the coming years. Once completed, the country is planning to become the refinery hub in Africa. This, in turn, is expected to attract foreign players to tap into the country's downstream market, creating several opportunities in the future. The increasing investment in the natural gas infrastructure, owing to the country's huge gas reserve and its advantage as a clean fuel, are expected to drive the market during the forecast period. The upstream segment expected to witness significant growth. Nigeria is one of the large countries in terms of proved oil and gas reserve in Africa as of 2020. Proved crude oil and natural gas reserve in Nigeria reached 86.9 million tons and 49.4 billion cubic meters. The country produces low sulfur content crude oil, which has a high global demand, pertaining to the need for reduction in sulfur content in the product processed by the world refiners. The demand for the crude oil produced in Nigeria, which has low sulfur content, is expected to rise sharply during the studied period as the global shipping industry adapts to the International Maritime Organization new 0.5% global bunker sulfur gap, which comes into force in January 1, 2020. The Nigerian upstream market is expected to gain significant investment owing to increased demand for low sulfur content. Also, a few recent developments are likely to add to the growth of the farm market. For instance, in November 2020, first E&P and state-owned Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation announced that the oil production from Nigeria Anyala West field, located in the shallow offshore block of OML 83 and 85, had commenced. Therefore, owing to the above points, the upstream sector is expected to witness significant growth during the forecast period. Growing investment in natural gas infrastructure are expected to drive the market. Nigeria is one of the largest and oldest oil producers in Africa. The oil and gas sector is one of the most important sectors in the country's economy, accounting for more than 90% of the country's exports and 80% of the federal government revenue. The country is the ninth largest in terms of global gas reserve. As of 2020, Nigeria has the largest oil and gas reserve in the African region, with around 37 million barrels of crude oil and 5.5 trillion cubic meters of gas. The country plans to become an export hub in Africa by exporting not only to regional countries, but also to other Asian countries like India and China. Furthermore, the country has significant domestic demand for gas, mainly from the power sector. The gas-fired power plants in the country are consistently underutilized due to the attack of an uninterrupted gas supply. The country also has a potential domestic demand from the commercial, residential, and industrial sector. By building the country's wide gas distribution network, the Nigerian government aims to tap into its potential. Moreover, the country is investing heavily in LNG facilities, gas processing facilities, and gas pipeline projects. The expansion at the Boni LNG plant is expected to add 35% more LNG capacities to the country. With this, the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Limited (NLNG) plans to invest $7 billion in the Train 7 project, which would expand its production capacity to 30 MTPA, making Nigeria the third largest exporter of gas in the world after Qatar and Australia. Therefore, owing to the above points, the growing investment in natural gas infrastructure are expected to drive the country's oil and gas market during the forecast period. Competitive landscape. The Nigerian oil and gas market is moderately consolidated. Some of the major players in the market include Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC), Shell plc, Total Energies SA, Chevron Corporation, and ExxonMobil Corporation, amongst others. In February 2022, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission announced the industry-wide Oil Revenue Recovery Initiative to recover the missed revenue on account of crude oil loss due to illegal tapping of pipelines. As per the Petroleum Commission, it is likely to recover double the country's output from 1.5 million barrels of oil per day to 3 million barrels per day during the upcoming years. In January 2022, Nigeria kick-started implementing its new oil reform legislation for oil and gas production growth and attracting international oil and gas companies. The reform was signed in August 2020, which is expected to turn the state oil company Nigeria National Petroleum Corp (NNPC) into a private company within 6 months to make it easier for the struggling companies to raise funds for oil exploration and production projects. The new NNPC can now raise funds from the global capital market and needs to pay taxes and dividends to its shareholders.
For more news about what is happening across Africa, subscribe, hit the notification icon. Thanks for watching New Africa.